talk stuff. Don't talk ish. Talk stuff. Damn, you got a lot of cup. All right, all right. Let me also I was gonna invite some of the homies to this one this time. So yeah, I mean, for me, it was interesting watching that Brendan Chop. Should we just get you started on the women's fight yet, or should we? Do you want to hold that? Do you want to hold? Because bro, when I saw that clip, I was like, oh boy, oh, I was like, oh boy, this is gonna get Perry Punch and Jacob fucking started. I already knew you. I already knew off top, bro. Like, there's no way you weren't gonna see that clip. It- yeah, yeah. You went. You know what? And I think I said this before. Like it should have been on the prelims, and that was a prime example of why it should have been on the prelims. He made the way he made it sound too. It wasn't competitive. A lot of times too. And I the women's fighting has grown on me, but a lot of times it feels like the skill level is just not there. Not all of them, but a majority of them. And the punching power isn't there. It's like they're and it's cool, but I don't know. It was very, it was not, I understood what he was coming from. The only thing I could think of it was International Women's Week, right? I don't know. I don't know if they had any other. Did they have any other women on fighting on that card? The fact that
Somebody just
the
said my
fact.
audio's off, so let me just fix that.
I mean, I can hear you. I can hear you on my stream on mine.
Really?
Look at I'm
Oh, I
hearing
think
you
I
right
just turned it back on then.
now. Okay. Well, thank you, homies, for
Yeah, thanks, homie.
letting us know.
Shout out to the homie Austin. All right, continue.
The Perry Punch, homie.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's International Women's
a little
Week or
shout out with that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, but it doesn't need to be on the main card, and that was a prime example. And he is right when it comes about the money, right? If
Mm-hmm.
we're paying for these fights, and I think you said this multiple times too,
Mm-hmm.
paying these fights, we're spending this much money, we're drinking your Kool-Aid, and this is the product you're giving me on the main card. That could have been on a prelim.
Right.
Even if it was like the last fight on the prelim, I still would have been like, dog, that doesn't deserve to be there.
Yeah, like the main event of a prelim, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to take it a step further, like I took this as an opportunity to also say that I don't even think this is a one-off problem because months ago I was saying Kayla Harrison being put on that UFC 309 card, I think it was, and Joaquin Buckley and Wonder Boy being on the main event of the prelims. I know people argue and say like, main event of the prelims, you get more eyes, but okay, you get more eyes, then give it to Kayla. You know what I mean? Give Kayla the more eyes. Like let Joaquin and Wonder Boy be on that one that people pay money to see,
Right.
right? And
Right.
I feel like it speaks to a bigger issue. I don't even know why Kayla Harrison's getting these opportunities. And I'm curious if other fans like see that and agree with it or if they're like no, she's an Olympian, she deserves it. Because I don't know, the sport is a teetering of accolades and also like what do you sell? And unfortunately with those ladies last weekend, they don't have either.
Yeah,
You
it was.
know?
I just thought of you though when I saw that. I was like, oh, Perry
Yeah.
Punch. I know he's just fuming inside.
I was
I thought you'd be
fuming
more upset,
inside.
actually. I thought you'd be more upset. I thought you were gonna like go on a heater.
No, I mean I don't.
You
You
seem
know.
low key. You seem even kill right now.
Yeah. Okay. So let's read it. Maybe he will maybe he'll spark something in me because I didn't have his full statement like memorized off the top of my
Well,
head.
let's put it on the back burner. We can get back to it. So what were you gonna say about Magomed
Okay, so you
and
want to kind of get into that? Let me see real quick. Let me just because I just pulled it up. No, I'm not. I think the thing is that Brendan said it pretty well. Between the streaming, between taking advantage of the loyal fan base, I think Brendan hit it all on the head and he said it really professionally. So I won't cloud it up and be unprofessional. Let me just co-sign Brendan's opinion there. We'll leave it at that.
All right.
But Magomed and Pereira, right? I think that's something else people are tuned into right now. They want to know.
Brandon, and you heard what Brandon said too. He's like, you guys aren't real. You guys aren't real sports guys. You guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about if you're saying it was at 135.
Right.
He's standing on that, and I don't know. I'm a very firm believer. You got to take it from the champ. Very, very firm believer. But the one thing that left it in, okay, the significant strike count for Magomed was higher. And even the homies, when we did our watch party and shit, everybody was like, oh, he doesn't look like Alex right now.
Yeah. Couple things, right? If you're speaking to whether that looked like Alex, in the middle of the fight, I was wondering, like, physique-wise, he looked a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker than normal. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I don't know if there's anything to it. Maybe he could speak on it, like, if he was not in the best shape and he didn't have that, like, ability to push in the middle of the fight, But on top of that, Brandon's saying you don't really know fighting if you didn't score 135 for Alex. You're saying you kind of thought it. What are you thinking? Because you don't want him to take it from the champ, but you did kind of score it for Magomed, even though it was close.
You know what I thought was that now, like, kind of I rewatched it. There were a few moments there in that fight where I was like, "Ooh, Magomed clipped him." After the last like 10 seconds of the first round,
Yeah,
he caught him, he rocked him, he damaged him. He didn't knock him out. He didn't, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, he knocked him down and started jumping on him, but he did rock him, and Alex was trying to defend himself.
yeah.
Then the bell rang, and he got to catch his composure, right?
Right.
We don't see that happen a lot of times with Alex. Usually it's the other way around, and I think everybody was waiting for that knockout, that kick, that that what we've been known for him to do. And we didn't see it this fight, and I thought Magomed went toe-to-toe with him. I thought he outmaneuvered him. I thought in the judge's eyes, he did enough and with the strikes to take it from him. Okay. He didn't like demolish.
You think
Alex,
he did enough to take it?
Yeah, I really do. And I thought it was smart. And I see it. Okay. And I was thinking about too, when he was against the cage in the fifth, he was kind of holding him, but he was still like moving. He wasn't just holding him and doing nothing. He was still being active. And I thought about the fight you and I watched at Bellator, and we both were on that guy.
Aaron Jeffrey.
Yeah, and we're like, that kind of was like, I don't know. He did that, but he added a little bit more to it.
Yeah. And
so I thought that was a smart move in a championship fight to push him a little bit more against the edge and on the scorecards. And it was unanimous, bro.
It was unanimous. So okay, that's it. I like that breakdown, right? I scored it. I rewatched it as well. I watched it very closely, and I have a few takes because I feel like it's very subjective. So it's hard to just go one route, and this is the way I see it, right? It's kind of almost three ways of saying it. I would say it like this. I did kind of score it, right? If I'm going to score it for somebody, I'm going to have to lean towards Magomed in this situation. I just am. If I'm going to score it for anybody, and it's going to be 3-2, right? Yeah. Now, with that being said, I personally don't wish I didn't have to pick somebody. And if I don't have to pick somebody, I'm actually going to score that fight probably a draw. It was that freaking close, bro. Scoring it round by round. Some of the rounds are like 9-9s or whatever you call a draw round. Like some of these rounds, I couldn't even really pick a winner. And everybody's up in arms about the third round, right? Everybody, that's the big controversial round. In my opinion, I wish that was scored a draw. I would score that a draw. The way I saw that third round is Magomed came out strong. Alex kind of fought back in the middle of the round, and he did very well. but then Magomed took back over in the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what happened also in that round that people don't really put into factor, in the third round, if you look back, Alex landed the harder shots. So that's why I would call it a draw, because Alex landed less, but he landed the harder shots. I think he moved Magomed's head back and rocked him around a couple times in that third. But Magomed did land more. So that's what I'm saying. Kind of a draw in that third round. And yeah, I wouldn't really give it to Pereira. It's either really got to be 3-2 Magomed or a draw, honestly. And last thing I want to say about it, because you also mentioned it, the fifth round, holding him up against the cage. My thing with that, the way the system is right now, there's nothing we can do about it. That's the rules set, and Magomed used it to his advantage. So with the current rule set in place, that's why I do kind of score it for Magomed too, if I have to pick somebody. But I would like to say, I wish that they would kind of, moving forward, I would like to see a rule change where if somebody holds you up against the cage, they could do that, but they're not going to win the fight. You either have to score a takedown or land significant shots. You have to score points. I feel like this thing about just maneuvering you isn't enough to really score points. That could just be like wasting time off the clock, and that's not counting as offensive points. You feel me?
Yeah, no, and I think it's a blend of like kind of what you're saying, what I was saying, and I thought it was very smart and strategic, because I think in the back of your mind is like, okay, I'm giving myself a less chance to get knocked out. I'm maintaining him, holding him, but he was, to me, he just did just enough. Like, where it didn't look like he was just holding him. He was still kind of swinging. Now, we're compared to some guys where they don't do any of that. They just hold you against the cage. Like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? So I thought it was smart because it was almost like a tactic, and it worked.
Yeah, and the referee, what's it called, was pretty good about that. He was good about separating the guys during that fight. I think he did it once, maybe twice. So being that the referee didn't separate it towards the end of the fight speaks to your point of Magomed was kind of doing enough. Was he doing a lot and, exciting the fans? No. But he barely was doing enough. He was landing little shots.
Yeah, it was like just enough. He did just enough to make an impression.
And to not get pulled off of Alex for stalling, right? Also, I kind of broke it down round by round just to kind of give a perspective.
And I was going to tell you this. You know who else thought Magomed won?
Who?
What's her name? Mary Christine?
I'm not.
Alex's ex?
Oh, yeah. She thought he won too, I guess, right?
Oh, yeah, bro. She was salty.
I know.
That Heina, bro, she was salty as fuck.
Yeah.
For her to come out the next
she was sitting there waiting like, please lose, please lose.
Bro, she just was waiting for his demise.
Demise.
Demise. She was just waiting, praying.
She was praying on his downfall.
Bro.
And that happens, though, when you reach the mountain of success,
Bro, I was like, wow, she really did that.
Yeah. And now I won't group all women into her, but she's not making women look good with that.
Hold on. Let's listen.
Super bitter.
Can you hear it?
I can hear it.
Also, he lost at the International Women's Day. Maybe that's a sign, guys. I don't know. New light heavyweight champion Ankalaev. Congrats. He did a really good job. If you guys are talking robbery, you don't understand anything from MMA. So let's not talk about robbery. That's completely BS.
I think her and Brendan need to do a podcast together, because he said
one thing.
He said if you scored it this way, you don't know nothing about the sport.
Yeah.
She just said, you don't know nothing about the sport if you said it was a robbery.
Right.
Oh, you can't make that shit up.
Yeah, that, and also there's a boxer. His ex-wife also kind of did something similar where she was like doing a watch party, cheering when he lost. These ladies got to stop doing that. That's not making you look good.
Oh, bro, no.
As a community, that's not making you look good.
And then it wasn't the full story that she was married when she was dating Alex?
Exactly.
And he didn't know, though. He was like dating her. Like, it'd be one thing if like, hey, man, just, I'm kind of going through a divorce or whatever, but I am married right now.
Right. That happens. That's common.
Yeah, and then he finds out after the fact, like, bitch, you were married.
Yeah, exactly. Of course he had to leave her ass. That was completely dishonest. And
Right? But
she's
I don't
over
think
here
that's why
still
they
bitching.
broke up, right? They broke up over some other shit, and then he found that out.
No, I think that's why they broke up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's why he came out and was like, "No, this is why. Like, she was married and shit. Like, of course I had to leave her ass." You know? So,
Oh, bro, she couldn't wait for that shit.
yeah, everybody's reposting that shit though. She went viral. Lucky for her. Okay, I wanted to just say, like, I wrote down this breakdown. So just for people who really feel passionate about the fight, either way, here's my take, right? Round
Okay.
one, 10-9 Pereira. I say he landed the harder shots. Ankalaev was close, but he was just missing. You know, he was coming really close, but just missed a lot of big shots. I said if he landed, he would have won the round, talking about Ankalaev. But he was getting really close a few times. And then I say round two, 10-9 Ankalaev. He rocked Pereira at the end, and he landed the harder shots throughout the round. Round three could have been a draw, like I already said, but I do lean actually 10-9 Pereira. Magomed started off strong, Pereira took it back, and Ankh fought back to try and even it out in the end. 4 extra shots landed by Pereira, but all leg kicks. So that's the third round. Fourth round, Ankalaev was holding Pereira up against the cage a lot, but is winning. Good separation by Goddard. Ankh didn't do much, but Alex didn't do anything except for throw at the end of the round, 10-9 Ankh. And then round 5, Ankh started good. Pereira came back harder with cleaner shots. And then Ankh hugged him against the cage for the last minute, landing knees and punches. The way the game goes, you kind of got to give it to Ankh or another draw for a round. And then I put the part. Oh, that's basically it.
Let me ask you this,
Yeah.
because these are the notes I had. I felt like Ankalaev controlled the fight more. He pressured more. He made Alex kind of have to fight off his back foot, and Ankalaev was controlling the center of the octagon. Where usually it seems like it's the other way around. Alex Bieta is. If you looked at the Khalil Roundtree, Alex Bieta kept pressuring Khalil. And just making Khalil just like kind of have to like go back on a bicycle. In this instance, it seemed like it flipped a little bit.
Yeah. I think that, it was just close. I think that,
It was close.
I think, if I'm being honest, I think that Magomed did do the majority of the pushing Alex back. But that's not to say that Alex didn't push Magomed back either, because I did see that happening. It's just, it would be this thing where, like I kind of already said, Magomed would be pushing him back in the beginning of the round, right? Alex would fight back to do the same thing to him in the middle, but then Ankh would get it back again in the end of the round. So you're talking about 2/3 of the round going to Ankh, and Pereira is pushing you back only 1/3. So take that throughout a whole fight. That is the majority of the time. You know what I mean?
It's that is a good summary right there. It's a really good summary right there.
Yeah, Alex was trying, but Ankalaev was very skilled in there. I liked his approach. I liked how he boxed. I liked how he was out of hitting range. A lot of head movement.
And do you agree that he deserves immediate rematch?
I do on the merit that I thought it could have been scored a draw, and I think that Alex, with all the work he's done, 3 title defenses before this.
Yeah, that's why I think too. He deserves it. He deserves it.
And I think it could have been a draw, man. So I just don't really think you could have scored it for Alex, really.
Yeah, it's not like he got his ass beat.
No,
like
a draw or Ankalaev.
Yeah.
All right, so something big hitting the airwaves right now. Okay.
Trending.
Trending. We got another Nick Diaz situation. I don't know what's up with, like, I be going viral with these posts. Like Daily Loud and shit like that. They just reposted that thing I posted about BJ Penn.
Oh, I did see that. I did see that yesterday from you.
Yeah, and now everybody's reposting it today. Like in pop culture, like No Jumper just reposted the video too.
He jumped on it quick.
Yeah, so I was the first one. We got a bunch of views on that. That's probably gonna touch like a milli. Last
I
one
saw
was
that.
Nick Diaz.
You're on some big numbers on Twitter. Are you on Instagram? Are you almost at a milli too? You're at 9. You're at 640 on Twitter.
Yeah, no, on Instagram it's not on really hitting the explore page. I think it's trending on Twitter and everyone's reposting it there. But I got like 1,000 likes on Instagram, so enough people saw it.
BJ Penn is claiming. Did you post it on Twitter, YouTube too?
No, we're talking about it now, so I'll clip this off.
BJ Penn is claiming a woman named Loraine Abile has stolen his 79-year-old mother, Loraine Shin's identity in an attempt to steal his family's fortune. That's crazy. This is a what's that? Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah, I know.
Claims her family and the Hawaiian government murdered his mom and brother, sold his 2.5 million house, and is threatening to call police on him. That's this lady right here. Look at her ass and legs. She's acting like the 79-year-old mother, but she's not my 70-year-old mother. What the? That's crazy.
Yeah. So just to break it down a little bit more, right, for people who aren't familiar, BJ's mom's name apparently is Loraine Shin, and there's this woman named Loraine Abile, who apparently, yeah, he's saying her and her family, in cooperation with the Hawaiian government, murdered his mom, and now she's impostoring as his mom to steal his family's fortune. And she already sold a $2.5 million studio.
That's crazy.
And like, I don't know, like, look at the Instagram post I made. He posts video of her. I don't know if BJ filmed that, if he's like in the same house with her doing these videos and being like, you're not my mom. But basically, he posted a video of her in the kitchen, and he said, look at her ass and legs. Like, this isn't my 79-year-old mother.
God, that's crazy.
And so hear me out, right? People are saying CTE. Shit, I mean, this kind of thing could also be true.
Fuck yeah.
She could be stealing his mom's identity. I mean, that could be a thing.
That happens.
It doesn't sound that far off. And the ladies look alike. They have the same name. Like, I wasn't so like down on BJ, but after I posted it, the narrative is like, oh my God, BJ is like gonna kill his mom. I think we need to find out if that's really his mom or not. We need a DNA test.
And okay, that's A, right? And if the police are involved, I mean, you would think that's what they're starting to do.
I guess so. I don't know if the police are involved. Oh, well, they're
Fingerprints?
call.
Fingerprints, something. You know what I mean? Something.
But this could also like.
And what would you do with your mom? I'm calling the popos immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dog, hey, come pull up right now.
Yeah. This kind of thing could get really messy, though. I feel like if it doesn't get handled soon.
Oh, if we find out his mom was murdered and this lady gets put in prison,
yeah,
that's gonna be crazy.
Or even worse, right? Because neither scenario is good. Or this is BJ's mom, and he murders his mom, thinking it's not his mom, thinking she's an imposter.
Well, thankfully, none of that has happened.
No, but that would be the sickest, most twisted thing I might have ever heard.
Yeah, that'd be super sad.
So
super sad.
I think we really need clarity because he could be telling the truth, but shit, dude, if that's his fucking mom and he really like thinks that's not his mom, everybody is right. Like, that is really crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, we just need to get the police somehow involved at this point. You know what I mean?
Because I feel like this shit's escalating. Like, as we speak, imagine BJ's household right now. They stole my fucking $2.5 million house. Somebody's got to pay for this. Like, Where's his mom at?
Yeah. Yeah. And then what it said about his brother too?
His brother's included in it and apparently, sold it.
Claims his mom and brother
were murdered by the Abile family.
And the government?
And the Hawaiian government helped them do it.
Okay, so yeah, that's a lot going on.
Uh-huh.
That's a lot going on. Like, how do you call the cops if the government's involved?
Full disclosure, let me be real too. If you watch that video, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Hold on, let me watch it real quick again.
All right.
Initial reaction.
Yeah.
See if I
Raw reaction right here.
Yeah. Oh, I can't get it.
MTK in the flesh reacting. While you react, I'm going to post a link to the channel. Or to the video.
Yeah, I sent it to some of the homies too.
All right.
I think that's our next step is start doing that more. We don't do it. We don't send it to nobody.
I know. I gotta promote it more.
We're like, hey, we're live. You motherfuckers around. Come stop by.
It's like the most hardcore type fucking. We rely on the hardcores.
Right. Let me see. Hold on. I'm gonna go on your Instagram. Maybe I can see it on there better.
Okay. Bear with us. MTK is pulling it up. I'm posting the link for more viewers.
Yeah, here it is.
Raw reaction.
You they do this because you're the government behind you. Fuck you, like go crazy, like get crazy. Fuck you. Lady right here, look your ass and legs.
Loraine Abile, and this house pops up, and
you look at and then my mom's name starts popping up. She's trying to steal everything. And this is not my mother. And I'm putting this up because she's saying that she's going to do an attorney and try to do something.
Bro, she's just cooking dinner like no big deal.
I know. Like, how did he get that video? Did he record that?
Yeah, and did he create the graphics for all of that too? Or the search graphics?
I think he just Google searched it.
But that was like an edit. That was an edit video. Like he had a lot of like graphics come up there.
Let's see what happens if I Google his mom's name.
I mean, he's following her as she's walking the dog. I mean, do the neighbors not saying? I mean, you got neighbors.
That's what I'm wondering. Is that him recording those videos?
I don't know, bro. That is crazy. I don't even know how to even.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
That's a crazy story. That is a crazy story.
Right. Now, a lot of people are saying that BJ's on has meth problems. Like they're saying that's meth written all over it. Like being on uppers, like Jared Gordon. Let me pull it up actually, because Jared Gordon said something real quick. What's your initial thoughts on that though? Them saying it's meth.
I mean,
I got to get you what Jared Gordon said.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it could be, right?
Like, do you know people who, I don't really know too many people who've been on meth to even like, do you?
I mean, you get paranoid and you get like, you haven't slept and, you think everybody's against you and,
that part.
So, I mean, because you have no sleep, so you're just like making things up. I mean, I don't know if that could make sense too.
Yeah. Jared Gordon, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm more on the side that I'm believing him, but I've never heard anybody say he's ever done drugs. So I don't know. Because he's had a pattern of doing drugs in the past. Well, then now you can't eliminate it.
Yeah. I don't know about the meth and shit. I know that BJ's had some street fights. I know that he drinks. I think he just gets into normal rowdy shit.
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning... Here's my thing too, right? I don't think BJ's like fucking lost his fucking mind necessarily. In that video, he seems pretty like just heated.
He does. He seems coherent.
Yeah, he just seems heated.
He does. Yeah, he doesn't even seem upset. He's like, dude, look at this is what's going on.
This is what's going on. And on top of that, in the past, right, I feel like the media has done a good job through things like this. Maybe it's due to BJ's own fault. But through these things that I just posted recently, that's been happening for years since he's retired. There's been videos of him fighting bouncers outside of strip clubs, getting knocked out. There's been videos of him like, yelling at his fucking ex-wife and shit like that. There's been these videos that come out. But, right, I was always thinking like, okay, BJ's kind of crazy. And then all of a sudden, Joe Rogan has him on his podcast. And like, BJ doesn't seem like he has CTE. I'm just going to say it. Like
he was holding a conversation.
Yeah, he was on Joe Rogan's podcast. It all seemed normal. So I was like, sometimes that's how it is, right? The media spins things, gives somebody a reputation that maybe isn't all the way there until you listen to them talk. And that's what I had thought. And that now, when I watched the video, that's why I was like, oh no, BJ's good. I kind of like, I seen that Joe Rogan podcast in the past. BJ's kind of good. I think he's telling the truth. But like I said, everybody thinks it's like CTE and shit.
I mean, I feel it sounds like this is not the end of the story. A lot more should be coming out then.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully nothing crazy happens. But
and so was that originally posted on his personal Instagram?
He posted it on his Instagram on like Monday.
Got you. And I'm sure you've been like kind of following him.
Yeah, I woke up to that and saw that.
You're like, oh shit.
I was like, okay, this is a fucking big ass story, actually.
Yeah, no, that is big. BJ Penn.
The claims that he's making are kind of crazy.
Let's see here. 4 days ago, yo, this is the greatest of all time.
But
that was 4 days ago.
Yeah.
4 days ago, to the sky. When I see you there, thank you for backing me. I wish I had one person in the whole world that could trust with my life. That was 5 days ago. I don't know. I don't follow him enough on social media to know his.
So BJ has a big thing with the Hawaiian government right now.
Is he? Okay.
He really thinks they're corrupt and like he's always like going against them. And it's usually a lot of conspiracies about like what they've done and how they don't really help out the Hawaiian people and shit like that.
I mean, that's low-key true.
Yeah, and it is low-key true. The Hawaiian government is super corrupt. But he also, he's likely, he posts that super controversial stuff like a Jake like a Jake Shields. You know Jake Shields?
Mhm.
How he posts super controversial stuff.
Mhm.
BJ's kind of along those lines. He's into that. Like, you know,
He's on that same wavelength.
a little bit. A little
Okay,
bit.
so it's kind of you don't know what's
You don't know. You don't know.
right. It's questionable.
Because he always has something crazy he's trying to tell you.
Got you.
And so even if he's right about a lot of the things he might be wanting to tell you, he kind of comes off a little bit like out of touch.
Okay.
Because,
Okay.
you know, not everybody wants to hear that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
True.
So, I don't know, man, but hopefully he can find help. Hopefully it's not CTE.
Right. Hopefully, it's the latter that maybe something's going on with him, and this is all just like, and not the latter.
Yeah.
Or someone killed his mom. That'd be fucking crazy.
Or like maybe his mom got like a BBL and she's just not telling him. He's like, that's not my mom's ass.
that lady in his house was just like cooking dinner. Like, okay, BJ, okay, like this is what BJ does. I'm here cooking dinner.
Lots of questions. If I was a detective, one of the first questions is, BJ, did you film these videos with your hands, like in your phone, or did you get this video footage from someone else? And if you did, how did you get it? Like, how did they film it?
Let's just do a fingerprint right now.
Yeah.
Just knock it right out of the park right now. Fingerprint, boom.
DNA test.
Okay.
Is this your mom or not?
The fingerprint should tell you just immediately.
Yeah, it should, right? If you have them in the system.
I'm assuming everybody's in the system.
Yeah. I don't know if I am, because I've never been to jail.
Well, I'm sure they took your fingerprints when you were a baby.
Maybe. You think if I committed a crime and they did fingerprints, like, I'm thinking I'm probably good.
No, you're probably in the system somehow, some way.
You think so?
I think so.
Shit.
They took your fingerprints when you were born, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe. Does that shit change?
No, it's your fingerprint,
From birth, though?
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy if that's the case.
We could look it up, but
Yeah.
someone's in the comments, they'd be like, "Oh, you guys fucking, oh, you guys are casual. It's fucking, you're not scientists." No,
Let us know. Let us know in the chat. If I've never been arrested, right, and my fingerprints are on a crime on some car door, and they peel that shit off and they test it in a database, am I getting caught? Let us know, boys. Let us know. All right. What else we got here? Let me see.
Jalen Turner retires.
Jalen Turner retires.
And what were we saying
Big
before
story.
this fight? What were we saying before the fight?
What were we saying?
Well, I was saying, basically that, listen, Jalen Turner's past performances have been hit and miss.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Jalen Turner we're going to get. And he gets, choked out by Ignacio. Not choked out, but submitted.
He did. And real quick, when I watched that, I was like before he even retired, right? I was like, I was like, that's some bullshit. Like, I don't like to see that. That submission, it wasn't like I was like, damn, Ignacio's like way better than Jalen. Exactly what Jalen said in the post-fight thing. He's like, I could have gotten out of that if I had the fire in me. I just don't got that fire anymore. And I saw that, like, right then and there, I reacted. I was like, that's a shitty way to go. It wasn't like Themba getting tapped out by Vicente. Jalen's was really lazy.
Or even Bruno Ferrio, that armbar he had against.
Right. Certain submissions where they just kind of tap and they don't really fight back. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't like that.
Yeah, and you know what? And this is a game of this is a competitive game, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have that fire and that competitiveness in you to want to be a dog out there and to want to, get a victory, honestly, it might be the best thing for him.
Yeah.
Because he's 29, about to be 30. A lot of these guys that roll into their 40s still fighting, still chasing. It's like, what are you chasing now?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is a blessing in disguise where he's not going to get any serious damage in the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
This has a shelf life. Nobody can beat Father Time in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he finds what else that is going to pay his bills now instead of later.
Yeah. I think something people don't really talk about a lot, and just from, I guess, training a little bit in the past, I experienced it, so maybe I can speak on it a little bit. I think everybody also handles it differently. But let's say you're getting ready for a competition, right? I mean, this is just because he speaks to his mental health. This is what I think he might be referring to. He's been getting ready for these fights, training to get ready to fight another man who's trying to kill you. The constant, sizing up and the constant self-doubt. I don't think maybe he's super depressed by any means. I think that just the constant preparation for fights, having opponents on the horizon, and that self-doubt for year
It's
after
a
year.
grind.
It grinds on you, dude. And imagine
is.
when you don't have a fight booked and you also don't have to have that anxiety. Because think about it like this, right? If you don't go to the gym and you're an average guy and you don't go to the gym for a week, you're fine, right? There's nothing crazy happening. Now, if you're a UFC fighter and you don't train for a whole week, right? Think about the anxiety that causes, especially if you have a fight booked,
Sure.
And I think Jalen's been experiencing a lot of that. I think he hasn't really been able to find his foot in training, and it's causing a lot of anxiety leading up to fights. He's not performing well in the fights, and it's like a recipe that's, kind of falling apart.
Yeah, in any sport at the highest level, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're judged by your results, and your results a lot of times start in training behind the scenes. So when you get to the big game, you're going to perform at your highest. But the moment, I don't give a fuck what sport it is, tennis, basketball, golf, MMA, the moment you lose the fire to want to compete, you've already lost.
Mm-hmm. Because then it becomes a burden.
It does become a burden. It's a job now where you don't have a passion for it anymore.
Yeah, because there's no fire.
There is no fire. There's a lot of fighters that, we can name right now that have that fire, determination to want to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
And they're willing to do whatever it takes because they're so focused and hypersensitive to what they want to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
But he lost it. You know what I mean? And if that's the case, I'd rather him say, I'm done, instead of me seeing him get knocked out in the next fight. And I'm like, oh, dog, I wish you would have just called it a wraps before.
I completely agree.
And now you're injuring yourself, and now you're causing your body more harm, and you're getting older, and it's harder. Now you just at a perfect age to be like, if this is what you want, so be it. If he decides and takes some time off, and he's like, hey, you know what? I found the fire again. I want to come back. He's still young enough where he could do it.
Definitely take 2 years off. Come back when you're 32.
It's gonna be harder, but you got to even have the fire even more.
You got to get the fire back. What if you do come back?
Yeah, you have to.
But
because it's like what you said about Cowboy. Like, why are you coming back, Cowboy?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you do have the fire. Maybe you are super competitive like that. But your body now is at an age where it's not when you're fighting these guys that are 30.
Exactly. So that's one of Jalen's, I guess, benefits to retiring young. He can always come back.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
He lost on a submission. So it's like, he didn't get fucked up.
No, he didn't get knocked out. That's not his last memory. So he could probably be down.
Even when I saw him fight Renato, remember, man, he should have bounced on Renato.
Mm-hmm.
Renato Moicano.
He should have.
He didn't. But he didn't. It's like, you got to have that dog in you, bro. Like, you got to.
Right.
See blood in the water, you better attack.
And who knows, you win that one.
Especially in that sport. Especially in that sport.
Yeah. And then you win that Renato fight. You're on a whatever fight winning streak at the time. Who knows what kind of motivation you ride into the next fight. But, these losses are a real trickle effect, too. Every fighter handles a loss differently.
And think about this. We'll kind of roll this all in. Bobby Green loses again on a knockout.
Yeah.
Right? He lost to Jalen Turner. He got submitted by Patty. He loses bad to Mauricio Rufio, right?
Mm-hmm. Mauricio
now,
Rufio.
that's a guy that might need to have a discussion with himself and be like, maybe the time has come.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting bad losses.
Bad losses from up-and-comers, right?
And not improving. I'm still fighting with my hands down. I love that about Bobby Green, but it's getting to a point where it's becoming detrimental.
Yeah. That's always a hard conversation to have, like, because what do we say, right? He's lost a couple in a row, right? 3 in a row he's lost?
Jalen Turner.
No, but that's not consecutively. I think he beat Jim Miller after he lost to Jalen Turner.
Wasn't it UFC 300? Maybe you could be right. Okay, I'm not. Okay.
But whatever, if you want to group it, right, and say like his last 5 fights, he's lost 3 of his last 5.
And look I'm a big Bobby Green fan. I love his bravado, but it gets to a point where it's like, oof.
No, because it really does show, though, right? I mean, like that Patty submission, Mauricio Rufy, it just kind of solidified the fact that
you're right.
You can't really compete with these guys
Miller.
anymore. Yeah. So so if he chooses to stay, who do you give him? Because that's the problem. Is like, sure, he could stay, but these guys that he's fighting are all going to knock him out. So who can you give him? And do you really give him a step down in competition?
And I believe at this point he's out of the top 15.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
now you
I think the rankings came out. Is he out?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's out.
Okay.
Jalen Turner is out, and Ignacio's in. Grant Dawson's now in.
It's gonna be it's a new time for the lightweights right now.
Yeah. You got the guy that beat Ribovics. That dude's fucking a beast. Joe Alvarez is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Grant Dawson, I mean, he's kind of trying to get his name back out there.
Right. Yeah, shout out to Bobby Green. He said he'll be back. But this game is so hard because once you start losing, there's not really much fights for you.
You know, here's my thing. I just wish Bobby took it more seriously. And when I mean like not fight with your hands down, look at footage of how your fighter is going to how he fights.
Mm-hmm.
He says he doesn't do any of that. And a part of me respects that. It's like, oh, that's the dog in you, right? But at the highest level, those are the things you have to do if you want to be a champion.
Yeah.
I get it. You're a fucking fighter at heart, bro. Like, you don't give a fuck. I get that. Hey, more power to you, homie. Shit.
And
like,
I think a lesson to be learned is that, listen, guys, I know that maybe not being a champion is for everybody, right? I guess that because, you know, you got the Kevin Hollands out there, the Bobby Greens. But at the same time, like, what do you expect to happen if once you start to fall off? Like, you're going to be getting knocked out bad because this whole time you weren't even aspiring to be like a champion, the best in the world.
Yeah.
You know, that just kind of comes with it. Like, being the best in the world comes with being a champion. And the fact that you guys kind of push that away, I think it speaks to a little bit of stubbornness and uncoachability. Like, I think that a lot of times people come up to them and they say, like, hey, you're not going to be a champion unless you put your hands up. And then that's why you get these things where, like, I don't care to be a champion. Because that's how they shut you up.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah,
being
that's true.
uncoachable is going to get you knocked out because a lot of guys, like, you know, who put their hands up, like a Demetrius Johnson, because he's the one who said, you know, Bobby was going to get knocked out for not putting up his hands. Guys who are coachable, that doesn't happen as much to them. You know?
Well, and guys that want to keep growing and learning.
Yeah. I think
There's something there's something to be said about a fighter that evolves.
Yeah. And once you have that know-it-all approach, how much evolution can you do?
And the younger guys too right now are getting so good at everything. And I don't know what it is, bro, but these guys are just big.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, Patty versus Rufy, great fight, but, you know, they both beat Bobby Green. I'd like to see that in the future. They could run it.
Well, I mean, if Patty gets past Chandler,
Yeah.
he's still undefeated. I mean, he's gonna become. He's a problem.
Yeah. But, you know, same thing that's been going down at welterweight is kind of going to happen at lightweight, it seems. You know,
Yeah.
like Usman, Gilbert Burns, Leon Edwards. These are all guys who are right about to be in Bobby Green's boat. You don't have to predict it, right? And you could be nice about it. But just to keep it a buck on the show for the fans.
Maybe not Leon Edwards. That's kind of the.
We'll see, right? We'll see.
He just was a recent champion.
He was the recent champion. But
Bobby Green was never a champion, though.
He was never. But I'm saying in the boat of, like, you know, and not
On
that
the
you're
back
gonna
nine.
get not yeah okay, so not like Bobby Green, like they're gonna get knocked out, but in the sense where there's very few winnable fights for them. Very few.
Your windows like this.
Yeah.
Now Leon Edwards beat Sean Brady.
This is one of those few that he could win this one.
Yeah, he's right back in the title contention.
Right,
That's
but
the conversation.
aside from Brady, there's not many guys that I believe Leon can beat right now.
And we're gonna see.
Yeah, Leon versus Shavkat. Let's see it. Leon versus Ian Gary. As the days go on, that's just getting worse for Leon, because Ian's getting older and into his prime, and you know what I mean. Leon's aging out of the sport.
Alexa,
Joaquin
how old is
Buckley,
Leon Edwards?
At least 32.
Leon Edwards.
36. 33.
33.
He's not old. If he was 37, 38, I'd have a whole different perspective on it. You're still got 3 years left.
We're gonna see, but also, you know, when did he beat Usman? You know, Usman was right. Like, Usman is now like 37, but Usman's been falling off for years.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah, a lot to tell. I know you've been talking bad about my boy Carlos Prates, though.
Okay, so you got all the transitions today. Let's go. Carlos Prates will not be a UFC star because he's ruining his career, bro.
Well, he's already
This guy,
a UFC star.
kind of, but not to the point where he can sell tickets on the big stage yet, like a Pereira. You know what I mean? Not even like a DDP. Let me say this: this man has a fucking cigarette in the left hand, a beer in the right hand, and he's got a fight against Jeff Neal booked next month. And nobody's gonna say anything but me. You can like this guy all you want, right? You can like him all you want. But as a fan, people be sucking his dick because I know there's a lot of guys who would be doing that, right? Let's say Joaquin Buckley's got a cigarette in his hand and a beer in the right. Joaquin Buckley got a cigarette in his hand and a beer in the right 1 month out from a fight. You guys telling me you're gonna be like, this guy's the sickest fighter in the world. Let's fucking go.
We would say take it more seriously.
So I'm keeping it a buck with Carlos Prates too. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it is what it is. I'm just telling the truth. You could call me a hater. I don't really care. Let me say this too, though, right?
But what if he wins?
Hey, okay. So let me go, right? Carlos Prates, you're gonna have to show me. You're gonna have to prove me wrong because I'm not gonna co-sign that. And you can call me what you want, but you can prove me wrong, and I'll be happy the day you prove me wrong. I actually like you. I smoke weed. I don't drink that much because it's not that healthy, but I drink. You know what I mean? I'm not against it. Drink and smoke. It's not that big of a deal. He's like me. You feel me? But I'm not a UFC fighter with the fight booked 1 month out.
Right.
So you're going to have to show me, bro. I'm not going to co-sign you and fucking hold your hand. You're going to have to show me. And you're welcome for the promo. You're welcome for the promo.
And it's almost too kind of like what you said about like Bobby Green, like where you get to a point where people tell you, hey, you can't do this. You're like, well, you know, I don't want to be champion anyway. You know, it's almost like people are telling him like, bro, you probably shouldn't be doing this anymore. He's like, oh, you know, well, you know, this is, you get a stubbornness to you maybe, you know? But it's almost too, it's like a double-edged sword, right? Because he has this bravado almost, like this like cool swagger because he does do it.
Yeah.
But you're going to get to a point, and hopefully he gets to a point to his career or the people around him say, hey, listen, you know, if you really want to get to this next level, lock in. These are on a healthy tip and on a fighter tip, you know. And you know, and maybe this is I don't, if he's smoking a pack a day, this is a whole different conversation. If he's doing it like for the camera because he's knowing it's going to get him more hits, that could be a whole other story too.
You never know.
You never know because that could just be an image.
Right.
But that's you know, and he could be playing that part. And maybe once in a while he'll have a cigarette after a fight, or maybe once in a while he'll have a cigarette, or once in a while he'll drink, you know. And all those guys do that. You know what I mean? Like,
right. That could be the case. But
look at my homie John Jones.
Yeah, it's the Ryan Garcia John Jones method. That's what I said. It has worked. It can work.
John Jones out there, wow, he was wild.
But let me say this: you can only do that.
I couldn't judge John Jones. I was like, bro, I can't say shit.
Yeah, but let me say the thing that John Jones and Ryan Garcia have in common: they're basically child stars for combat sports. Like John Jones was the youngest UFC champion ever, and Ryan Garcia is basically like the youngest rising star of the last decade. Right. So these guys are the youngest rising stars with the most talent. Carlos Prates, you're 32 and you got talent right up there with like the rest of the guys, but you're not this world beater. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't believe he can get away with it, and I don't believe it's the Ryan Garcia John Jones method for him, because you have to be like an 18-year-old phenom to be that. Not a 31-year-old. That's when you got to be like, all right, slow it down a bit. But hey, let me say this, right? Because I really don't dislike Carlos, but you got to have takes, right? And I'm gonna fucking make my own take. Like that's my fucking take, like it or not. I like Carlos, and I think he hits great knockouts. I love the knee he throws. He throws like a rear knee and knocks you the fuck out just with a knee to the liver, basically. So, once again, Carlos, I fuck with you. Let's see what you do against Jeff. I'm kind of picking him.
You're picking Jeff?
No, I'm kind of picking Carlos.
Yeah, I'm going Carlos, too. I think that it's a step. It's because who was his last one? Neil Magny?
I think Neil Magny, yeah.
So we all kind of knew, like, hey, you get past him, you're going to deserve the next guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I heard they just booked the Brian Battle fight too.
Battle versus who?
It's versus.
Breaking news.
Yeah, breaking. Let me see, where was that? Orban Elliott.
Oh, Bon Elliott.
Mm-hmm. Orban Elliott, yeah.
Oh, so the UFC's not too happy with Brian Battle after what he did. I see. Yeah, they didn't give him a good opponent. They gave him one of those guys.
Well, Orban, he's a dog though, right?
No, he's good, but like,
he's not a ranked guy.
You know, Oban's not bad.
I mean, he's a competitor.
One would think though, right, that Brian Battle, his name has been a little bit sexier lately to not really get an Oban. You would have thought that he would have got a cool matchup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Oban's not really a guy that people clamor for a fight matchup.
Right. So yeah, I mean,
I would even say the battle versus Brown had more buzz of an announcement.
So Randy Brown, yeah.
Yeah, battle versus Brown, when that got booked, I'm like, okay, that's some good shit.
And that's why my boy Bonfim about to step up.
We'll see. My guy's high on Bonfim. You proved me wrong once, so I can't say much about Bonfim.
He had a really good game plan that day, but
Hey,
yeah, but with Carlos Prates,
yeah.
I mean, if he, it's hard for me to say he's gonna get a knockout versus Jeff Neal though. If he fucking finishes Jeff Neal, people are gonna really take attention. People are really gonna take notice.
Yeah.
And then Michael Morales versus Gilbert Burns too is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Gilbert Burns, if Michael Morales, because Gilbert Burns that's a high level competitor still, bro. But if he's able to get past that and keep his O, get in the top 10, like things are gonna get very interesting.
Yeah. Well, you know, for me, I'm gonna go ahead and say Gilbert is about to get like, I'm not gonna say he's trying to get Bobby Green, because that's like, don't take it literally, but basically like the up and comer about to fight Gilbert, it's gonna be the same thing as Rufy versus Green. Like, I believe, right? I'm just gonna go out and say it. I believe that this prospect Morales is gonna go out there and basically, you know, Bobby Green and Gilbert.
What did you think about the JDM Gilbert Burns fight though? Gilbert Burns gave him a run for his money.
He gave him a run for his money. Okay.
He wasn't able to finish it.
That also speaks to JDM. I'm not super high on JDM. I know a lot of people, even my guy, right? Even Joaquin. Joaquin thinks that JDM is a great fighter, right? Another guy like on Twitter that I like DM a lot, he's like really high on JDM. Shout out Soda Pop if you're watching. But
what up, Soda Pop?
I'm not really high on JDM. I think that JDM had a bad performance against Kevin Holland, right? I think that, you know, Kevin could have maybe, there's an argument he could have won that. I think that he had a bad performance against that guy, Basil Hafez. I think he had a bad performance against Gilbert until he finished him. So when you're asking, right, what about Gilbert going really hard against JDM? I got suspicion out there about all these things. We have to see it.
Yeah,
but these guys have a lot of hype. And personally, I'm going to rock with Morales. I'm going to say that, to answer your question too, it's been a year or almost a year and a half since that, right? So it's just another year and a half. Gilbert's getting older. And Gilbert is at that point where he's aging in dog years. You know,
Okay.
Every year that goes by, it's like 7 for Gilbert and Kamaru and Leon. You know.
Clip that bad boy.
That's a good one.
Mike Morales is young. He's in his prime of his life. I think it's gonna be I think these two fights are like, it's really gonna tell us where Carlos Prates and Michael Morales are at, and if they can get past these challenges, who knows what they could do too. I mean, that's why they're gonna be a very interesting division.
I would say you got like Buckley, you got Ian Gary, and then you got these two guys right here, Prates and Morales. Let's see. Because Ian Gary and Buckley have kind of proven to where it's like they belong, right?
Oh,
they
yeah,
belong in that
100%.
top notch. But Morales and Prates, they're on the verge where basically Ian and Buckley were last year.
Because if they lose, it's like, see, they're just not ready for it yet.
Let me say this too, right? Because last thing on this topic. So I guess Joaquin, he disagrees with me. He commented on the post and he said, nah, Carlos will be a star, but get that Prates pack ready because I'm ready to smoke him.
Ayo, I like that.
Yeah,
like
so he's coming for him. He's coming for him.
I like that.
I would love that fight in the future.
Yeah. See, does Joaquin drink at all?
You know, I never asked him. I always mean to be like, yo, you smoke or drink? But I have a feeling he doesn't.
Okay. Well, more power to him.
More power to him. Cause you know, some people, how do you say this? I feel like I can tell like certain people's energy. I feel like Joaquin's got that type of energy where I'm like, nah, he doesn't smoke. Like he's like wired without like too much like stimulants.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see how that goes. I was gonna say with Joaquin and Prates though, imagine that face off, right? Because you saw that Prates face off with Jeff Neal where he's like grinning at him, like growling basically.
Yeah.
Bro, do that in Buckley's face. I don't even know what he's gonna do, but I'd love to see it. I'd love to see his reaction.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tune in.
We were texting behind the scenes about the UFC 313 press conference.
Yeah.
And the UFC 313 press conference and the UFC 314. What do you call that?
The dud.
The press conference or whatever. I don't know what you call that. Gene Silva comes out with a globe.
Call it a kickoff presser.
A kickoff. Yeah. He comes out with a globe.
Too good. I love it. This is what I'm talking about. Like, what's so hard about coming out with a globe?
I fucking loved it, bro.
Unless
And
you're
then-
scared you're gonna get knocked out, but these guys
then
have confidence.
And then Carlos Prates kind of like, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? Like, hey, what up, dog?
Mhm.
I'm right here, playboy.
Took off his shirt, I think, for the face-off.
Yeah,
I like
he
that
did.
shit.
Yeah. And I think that's when they got the clips with the cigarettes, right?
No, I think the cigarettes happened at the
After-
event.
Oh, at the event?
Yeah.
So
Even better because he's standing inside the place smoking a cigarette inside the building. That's crazy.
So it was those two fights really were the press conference. The Patty and Michael, they didn't really go back and forth too much. Yair, not Yair, but Diego Lopez and Alex were more like, cordial with each other and shit. But those guys right there, they're gonna bring a good fire for 314.
Yeah, who you rocking with? You got any pick?
Silva, Carlos Prates. I'm taking both those guys.
Okay, you're going with both those guys.
Yeah, I think it's a good test for Gene Silva, though. I really do. I think this is a really good test. Brian Mitch, maybe not as outside the ring, but inside, but I think this is a good test. I think this is a good matchup. I like the matchmakers did this.
The narrative out there, right, is that this is going to be a big test for Gene Silva. Bryce Mitchell's not some walk in the park, and if he can get past Bryce, that's a big deal. I'll be honest. I feel like maybe it's because the American in me or something like that. I don't know. But my brain is leaning towards Gene Silva, but my heart kind of like wants Bryce to win it.
You know what's interesting? Like I don't know, my heart doesn't want that, but what's interesting for me, what's interesting for me is that Gene Silva every time has impressed me, and I felt like Bryce Mitchell's fights were kind of like, I think he was a step above those guys, and there's something about Gene Silva. He just has a swagger to him, bro. It's just like, even when he knocked that dude down, he looked at the ref like, bro, you want me to damn? Then he fucking finished him. I'm like, damn, that fool's a dog.
I'll say this. This is the type of fight that makes a real star in the sense of like everything that's going to go into this fight, right? All the pressure, all the buildup, right? Everything that's going to go into this, it's like a 50-50. Whoever wins this one, it's going to do so much for their confidence moving forward that it's really going to make them a star, I believe. Whoever wins this fight will go on to achieve something great in the sport, I believe.
And here's the thing, too. Bryce Mitchell has fought some really good fighters. The Gracie fight, I really wasn't – I don't know. I thought that was bad.
He did knock his ass out.
Right. But we kind of expected that. You said it was on the ground. You know what I mean? It was like – and then
but give him credit.
The Emmett fight, he lost bad. Yeah, I give him credit, but Gracie wasn't even ranked. He wasn't really nobody on anybody's radar, really.
You're saying it wasn't a super high-level fighter that he knocked out?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I even think you said, too, Gracie's like, if you get him on the ground, watch out, right?
Yeah.
Right. Josh Emmett got knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Stan Ige in decision, unanimous.
Mm-hmm.
Lost to Poria submission. And then he beat Barbosa. So he's fought some really good fighters.
Yeah, he has.
So the moment won't be too big to him because he's fought high-level competition. Gene Silva now, I feel like this is going to be that next tier of fighter. But like, okay, you get past this guy. We get you in the rankings. You can make a run at it and do what Carlos Prates did. Do what some of these other Joaquin Buckley did. You can start really building a name because we now know what you say. Hey, he can sell tickets.
Mm-hmm.
He has that.
He's got that ability.
Yeah, he has that it factor.
He does. I would say, what's it called? I saw a comment out there that people are saying Gene Silva's takedown defense is suspect. So just gonna throw it out there. That's what people are saying. I don't know because there hasn't been too many fights we've gotten to see for Gene. So I guess we'll see. Let's see how it plays out.
And that's why this is a good fighter to see that against, because if you can't get past Bryce Mitchell on the ground or standing, we're ready for it.
Right. And Bryce is one of the best in the division, so gonna be a good one. Whoever wins this, I'm saying it, I think they'll have like a big win streak. Because I think it's gonna be like this. This magnitude of this fight you're gonna see, I think it's gonna be very big. And let's say whoever their next opponent is, right, the winner of this one, like I don't think the magnitude's gonna be as big. You feel me? So if the magnitude's not as big, it's less pressure. You can perform really well. So I think, these guys, whoever wins this, just look out for him.
I was gonna just say It's funny, they still have Ilya Tapora as a featherweight champion. So I mean, the next fighter, if one of these guys wins, because Brian Mitchell's is number 13. I don't know. Aljamain,
Um,
Youssef, Leron's about to fight Murphy, Arnold Allen.
we'll see.
Ryan Ortega would be a good fight.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll look ahead once the winner person wins. We'll take a look then.
I was gonna tell you too that I just watched that dark what is it called on Vice? Dark Side of the Cage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? And they just rolled out the Matt Hughes episode, and then they rolled out the Pride episode. I didn't know that about Pride, that one of the founders or presidents was found that he committed suicide in a hotel room in Japan.
Yeah.
And the what is it called? The Kuzakami or
the mafia over in Japan.
the mafia in Japan
They
had
say they killed him.
well, yeah, and they had like a stronghold on Pride.
Yeah.
And their fighters that the TV stations were looking for more ratings, so they wanted ex fighters. And I was like, damn, there's a lot of crazy shit going on behind the scenes here. I was like, well, I didn't know all that.
Yeah, that's a rumor that Pride was run by basically like the Japanese mob.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so it was an interesting episode. It was actually a 2-part episode.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Something I want to touch on as well, I think it's worth mentioning. So, UFC 313 is free because of the mishap, right?
Is it?
It's free. I didn't buy it. I watched it on my TV. I watched it on my phone. You can go on ESPN
Oh, so
Plus
they're giving it to you after the fact free.
after the fact for free for the mishap.
Man, West Coast Radio needs to make a call to somebody to get a refund.
I know, right? My homie bought that shit too.
Oh, okay.
Something though, right? If you think about it, I think I might have heard it on Brendan Schaub's. But
about the payout.
yeah, so Pereira is not going to be getting pay-per-view points. Because if you get pay-per-view points for these sales and this event is free and people couldn't even buy it during the event, that's a huge miss. I wonder how they're going to compensate him or how that works.
That's a great question. I wonder the UFC is like, bro, you lost, so we don't care.
Well, no, because contractually it's just going to happen. Like even like whatever sales they made now.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like, but here's the thing. Whatever sales they made now, contractually he'll get it. But it's like, if I was him, I'd be like, yo, you guys, from a mistake you made, lost probably like $10 million. So like, I should get a percentage of that.
Right. That's not my fault.
Not my fault.
And I did like what Brendan said too. It's funny how we both listened to Brendan. And it was funny because I was driving, so I was like, I'm just gonna pop it in. I was stuck in traffic and shit.
It's a good listen.
Yeah, it was a good listen. It was funny because he was talking about his son, about the baseball and shit.
I know, I'm like, skip.
And he was talking about how ESPN is currently negotiating with UFC for the rights to go and, have this stuff on their network. He's like, ESPN doesn't really care. This is like a piece of a lot of pieces they're doing. And so it's funny, and he was all the way he was running. It's like, it's funny that this happens at this time while we're negotiating to tell the UFC, to kind of strong arm the UFC a little bit, but like, hey, you're losing money.
Mm-hmm.
You need us.
That was interesting. So I kind of like didn't fully understand who he was saying, like what happened there. But I think he was saying that in a way, because of the negotiations, he feels like ESPN intentionally sabotaged that event. Yeah.
And he made and it's coincidental, right? It's like, I mean, he may be pulling, it could just be an accident or could be, I don't know. That's, he's reading into it, right?
He's reading into it.
Right. But I mean, it is, when has it ever happened like that? And I don't remember a time it said.
Yeah. And then during the negotiations, that's what makes it kind of sus.
Right.
Let's see what happens. That stuff is like, shout out to Ariel, because Ariel's good at covering that stuff.
Yeah.
He knows the ins and outs. I don't know the ins and outs too much of TV, but I'd like to hear people ask that question in the media days. That's what we need in media day, right? Hey, Dana White.
It's a good question.
We saw that the pay-per-view became free. What does that mean for Alex Pereira, and how will you guys plan on compensating him?
Yeah.
You're not gonna get an answer, but these questions need to be asked to hold the UFC accountable. You know, you can't be so scared of losing your spot at the fucking media days where like we don't conduct real journalism and ask real questions.
Yeah. Did you see homegirl throw call out Nina saying she's cursing the UFC fighters?
No, I didn't see that.
You didn't see that?
No.
I think it was Paulina that she called her out. Let me see if I can find it for you.
Nina drama. I feel like we differ there. I'm not a fan of Nina drama. You kind of like her, no?
And it is what it is. That's all where I'm at.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a new Diana Belbita.
Deanna
The cute one.
Belbita.
Yeah, we have a new curse. Nina drama curse. UFC 310. Nina claps back. I respect you as a fighter, so I won't say anything bad. How am I a curse when I filmed as many videos with Alex as I did with Ankalaev? Question mark. Please elaborate. You should focus more on training and less on tweeting negativity. Focus on your fight with Diana Barbosa. You have a tough challenge ahead. Wish you the best.
Mm. Yeah, women for you. That's not the first woman she's gone back and forth with.
Nina or Diana?
Nina, she's always going back and forth with like some type of fighter, like always.
I mean, I commented. I was like, if I was a fighter, I don't know how to do it. I think I'm gonna wait on the interview till after the fight.
Yeah.
Sean lost.
Mm.
You know her and Sean are homies, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Alex
I think
Bitter, I see Alex Bitter a lot of videos. Sarikian got injured.
Yeah. No, and okay, so this actually brings up a good point now that you brought this up. I'm not going to really speak on like Nina, right? But let me just say this. I think it speaks to, how do I say this? She's getting it because of how much time she spends with certain fighters, right? And how much content she does with them. And I think that does speak to something where it's like, I think that like we got to be careful. Like these guys, if you look at it from their perspective, they train, you know, it takes a lot of like discipline and like alone time to really like visualize shit and how the fight's going to go. I think that you should really stay away from these guys as much as possible. Like being like, hey, we could do a viral training video of like us at the UFC PI. Like it's not doing as much for you as you think it is. Like nobody's going to watch your fight because he saw you training with Nina. You know what I mean? Like certain things sell the fight, like interviews where you talk about your opponent and you get people invested. And that's one thing, and it's a sit down, and that is what it is. But I think sometimes when you do all these other things with these fighters and you're constantly with them, like you're taken away from their space. Like when you're in the Uber with Sean Strickland everywhere he goes throughout Australia during fight week, like get the fuck out of there. Like he needs to be with his coaches. They need to lock in. It's just not even against Nina. If any journalist did this, right? And let me give you an example. I want to do something, right? I want to reach out to Joaquin soon and probably cruise down to St. Louis and film like a real like
embedded,
a real raw style like 24 hours video,
like an embedded or something.
Yeah, but I'm careful about like how I approach that shit, and like even I'm thinking already like how am I gonna like stay out of his way? Like I don't want to do this shit where I'm asking him to go out of his way. Like whatever he does in his day or something like that, I'll film that content, but it's not gonna be something where I'm even like, hey, this is a good idea. This will go viral. Let's go do this. Because you're wasting his time. He could be doing recovery. They could be doing other things. And I think that just because Nina's getting flack about like, oh, you do so much content with these guys, you're making them lose. I don't think it's a curse more than it's like, maybe just like take that as a subtle way of saying, don't kick it with these guys so much. Let them train. Because Ariel does a lot of interviews, right? But he doesn't get this. Because he's more professional. He has you on for 30 minutes and it's done. Before the fight, after the fight, boom. I respect that, right? And I'm not even the biggest Ariel fan, but that's what I'll say about that.
Yeah, I think we're at a point of no return because we're in this age
content
now.
Era.
Yeah, we're in this content era, and Dana White's already opened up the door and it's full access, letting it happen. It's almost like a given that this is going to happen every UFC fight.
And you know, she goes up to Alex and she's like, hey Alex, do you want to film this thing? He's not going to be a dick and say no, but like I think it's also on the media person to try your best to like stay out of shit, like cover media. But like I think Nina's questions where they sit down and they do that thing for 30 minutes and she asks questions out of the book, that might not be my style, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about all the other time you spend with them outside of that. You really got to back off a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's. I mean, it. Like I said, the door is already open.
It's on the fighter to say no. I'll put it like that.
Yeah, and that's a good question too. Maybe I'd like to ask that question. Like, are the fighters mandated?
I think that sit down backstage where she asks questions out of the book, I think that's mandated media day. They're like, you got to go to Nina Drama at 3:30 p.m. But I think that stuff you see in the PI, that training stuff, I think a lot of that is her extracurricular.
Extra.
Yeah. Couple more things I got for you. I guess since we're on conspiracies, or we kind of touched on one a second ago, two things, right? Two conspiracies.
Okay. So everybody knows I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy, right? I don't believe in fucking rocks. I don't believe in fucking astronomy. I went to his girl's house one time. She had all these healing hawks and shit. I'm like,
I think conspiracies are kind of fun, but I'm also not crazy. So like, I shut down a lot of them. I feel like I'm your best friend.
I was like, oh, what did I get myself into here? Okay, you brought out the rocks.
No,
Right.
I feel like though, if you got a conspiracy and I believe it, that solidifies it. But let's go on. Gaethje glove controversy.
Yeah, I didn't feed too much into it, but so explain that to me exactly.
So basically, right, there's some lore here. Onyx, right? You know the glove stuff, the current glove situation with the UFC, right?
Sure.
Right. I don't need to explain that part. Justin Gaethje's coach, he has a glove that he created called Onyx.
Okay.
Okay. So these gloves are supposed to help prevent eye pokes, and I think also they prevent more cuts, right? So the issue with the UFC and its gloves has been going on for a while. Before this last year, before even 2 years ago. It's been going on for probably a decade now, right? Where there's been this thing of like a talk of changing it. And in that process, along the way, Justin Gaethje's coach was in talks with the UFC to sign a deal for new gloves. This might have been around 10 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. That deal never happened because what the UFC was offering him, he didn't want to accept. He wanted like the rights to the gloves, he wanted more money. So financially, they didn't work it out. Fast forward to last week, right? In an embedded episode or something like that, the brand that they turned down the deal with was blurred out on the embedded because Gaethje was training in his gym, and he has bags all with his brand, Onyx, and I guess they blurred out the logo. So people are suspecting, right, that Gaethje was a little bit petty and wiped off the logo of the UFC gloves backstage before he fought as like a retaliation.
No, okay. I can follow that.
And hey, the logo comes off one glove, okay. All right. It came off of one. But it came off of two.
Both? Right. That makes sense. That does make sense.
Yeah.
That's not too much of a conspiracy theory.
Not too much. But Hunter Campbell, he came out.
The things align.
It aligns. But Hunter Campbell came out and said that basically they just came off while he was warming up, and Justin didn't want to change the gloves. So that's the story. We can't say much, but that's the conspiracy. If you want to believe it, believe it. If not, don't.
He won.
Two things. Gaethje after the press conference, he was like, he was like, no, that's what it is. It just came off during warm-ups. But because I watch everything, right? In media day, something Gaethje said that stuck out to me is he was like, I didn't get to where I am by not being petty. I'm one of the most petty people you'll ever meet.
I do remember him saying that, yeah.
And so I'm thinking like, okay, you're one of the most petty people you'll ever meet. That's a petty move. Hey, I don't blame him though. Be loyal to your coach. I don't hate it.
Yeah. Do you think that he deserves a title shot?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think maybe if you get another win, another good, like if you would have knocked him out, I would have been like, ooh. But I think you need another, like, you need a dominating win.
Yes, and I'm also kind of critical, right? I know I'm very critical, so tell me what you think about this. Even with the tweet, right? Did you see his tweet? How he said he deserves a title shot. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Ollie tweeted that, right? Or I'm the one who kind of like informed you that Ollie does that shit. But Ollie tweeted that. And to me, that right there, it's just a little bit bothersome. Maybe if Justin had the courage to type his own fucking fingers on Twitter and say something how he wants to say it, I might get behind it. But dude, your manager doing it is so lazy in translation. It's not in the way you say things. And on top of that, if you don't even want to type something out and your manager's doing it, how much do you expect people to get behind it?
Yeah, and I guess, it's, I mean, You got to throw it out there.
But your manager's doing it. It's inauthentic. Like, I'm sorry, but you know, it comes off like there's energy behind things, and that was like a fucking like a fart. That tweet was like a fucking fart, bro. Because Ali does it. If Gaethje would have say like, "Hey, I deserve it because this and that, and this is what I really think," okay, like let's go with that. This is what Gaethje's saying. But like, you can't even go with what the tweet said because it's not what Gaethje's saying. It's what fucking Ali said. And he's trying to This is my thing. I don't appreciate it. This pisses me off. And we're gonna go right into fucking Cheeto next. We're gonna right into fucking Cheeto. I don't appreciate you guys fucking manipulating us, the media outlets. You want to keep manipulating us and doing shit, then we're gonna keep clickbaiting your asses too. And whoever intentionally manipulates us and thinks that you can just pull our strings and get the posts and get the publicity off fucking bullshit, right? Then don't be surprised when I'm not fucking courteous with clickbaiting you. Okay? So that's the thing, Ali. Just for the record, dude, that kind of pisses me off. Like, you tweeting, manipulating, and wasting my time because Justin didn't say that. So don't, you know, I know why you're tweeting because you want me to post it, Ali. But that's bullshit, bro. That's bullshit. Get your fighter to do it, or if your fighter can't do it, then you don't do it, and don't waste my fucking time. That's me personally. That's me personally.
How do you really feel, Jacob?
So let me say this. Let's go right into the next one. Cheeto Vera, another fucking clickbaiter. Cheeto, you go ahead and you do this fake ass promo, and I'm kind of irritated, to be dead honest. Call me what you want to call me. I'll stand on this. I'm kind of irritated because it's like, Cheeto, you put out this fake ass shit, and I spent my time. I put it out there. You know what I mean? I put my reputation out there too, saying like, this is what happened. This Cheeto in the video. You know, people are saying like, damn, this is fake. When he pulled
up the strap, right?
Yeah, this is fake. This is fake. Because somebody walks up in a Cheeto's driveway with a knife and he pulls out a shotgun on him. Turns out that wasn't a fucking crime scene. He's promoting the drop of a t-shirt company in LA. Like, suck a fucking dick, bro. Like, I ain't promoting shit of yours. Honestly. Like, if you think that's how it goes and like you just waste our fucking time, I don't care that I got 1,000 likes off that fake ass shit. I would have rather not posted that dumbass shit. Because in a backhanded way, you made me promote your fucking Street X brand. And I get it. I get that's the game. But you're going to play the game like that. The dirty fucking game. Okay, then I'm going to play a dirty game too. So like when you get knocked out and shit, and I want fucking engagement, you know what I mean? I guess I'll just post your ass. That's what I'm trying to say. And that was maybe a little bit harsh, but that's an example of like, you're playing a dirty game. And like, we could play a dirty game too. That's my real example. I'm probably not gonna glorify Cheeto getting knocked out because I don't want that to happen. But my point is like, don't play a dirty game when you guys also are always the first ones to say and call us out for playing a dirty game too. Right? We're always the first ones to get called out for playing a dirty game.
Right, because you want clickbait, because you're clickbaiting, yeah.
But then you're gonna turn around and clickbait us and manipulate us into your favor. So like, if we all understand the art of manipulation, right, then don't bitch at me when I manipulate because you're the same type of manipulator. So Cheeto, I better never hear something about somebody clickbaiting nothing from you, bro. Nothing.
All right. Woo, he was cooking. He was cooking, ladies and gentlemen.
That shit pisses me off, honestly. Like, I don't like that.
He was like
super inauthentic. Yeah, dude, churn that shit. The butter's been made, bro. It's fucking been whipped already. That shit's whipped.
Woo.
Any thoughts? I mean, because you're not in my boat, right? You don't post like I do. So like for you, that doesn't waste your time. You're speechless. My voice speechless.
I don't know. I didn't take it that personal.
Yeah, because again, you don't have to post that shit.
I see where you're coming from.
Right, there we go. Fair enough.
Where you're coming from.
Okay, I think we'll end it on this one. Ilia Topuria.
You know what we should start doing is more like the most out-of-pocket post of the week.
Yeah, like donkey of the day to some degree, right?
Yeah, like the most like, bruh, come on now.
We're going to do something like that. And this week, it's Carlos Prates and Cheeto Vera. We got a 2 for this week. You might not always get 2, but this is a special week.
Okay, so then what we'll do is like, okay, which one would it be? This one or that one? Because if you pick one, it's probably going to be with Cheeto Vera, right?
I'm going to go with fucking Carlos Prates, drinking and smoking with 1 month out from a fight.
What?
That's some donkey ass shit, dude. That's some donkey ass shit.
You're gonna take that one over the Cheeto Vera fake shit?
Kinda.
Wow, you got more heated about Cheeto Vera.
I did.
I get too upset about Carlos Prates. Like, yeah, I mean,
yes, I fuck with Carlos.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, just to keep it down the line, right? I think that doing that with the fight booked.
Then another one we should add is who had the best mic drop of the week. I'm gonna write these down, bro. I'm giving out free game all of a
All
sudden.
right. Mic drop
Because
of
the
the
best
week.
mic drop would have been Gene Silva.
Do you look out for that like every week, right? Do you have something where you're like, oh, that's a good mic drop?
No, I just thought of it.
Okay. That's a good one though. But you know, for me, I'm always kind of I feel like I am. That's something where I'm tailored to. Is I'm always looking out for that
that moment.
like the Carlos Prates, the Cheeto Vera shit. Like that
Yeah.
that stuff really gets me. Like I'll always have something like that for you
A
every
little,
week.
a little juice, a little juice.
Like something where somebody fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I think the one I had of the week for UFC 313 was when Raphael butt hugged Justin Gaethje, and I posted, "Is that the butt choke?" That got like absolutely.
Oh, that did? Hell yeah. How's the numbers been on Twitter? Pretty good?
Yeah, they were all right.
Yeah.
I was like, I had a lot going on over the weekend, so I was trying to like do both. But yeah.
Okay. Fucking
What are
my
you gonna say though about who?
well, real quick, my Twitter numbers have been pretty decent. I haven't been posting as much just because I'm trying to like it's so much balance, bro. You gotta balance them all.
Oh, you
like
do.
but
And then that's why I can't wait for my Tesla robot. I'm gonna put that motherfucker to work.
what are you
Okay,
gonna do with your
this
Tesla
drop-
robot?
You're gonna run my IG. You're gonna run my Twitter. You're gonna run my YouTube. I need fucking breakfast cooked. I need fucking.
Wait,
my
what does it do though?
updated.
Like
Oh, it's gonna do all this shit I'm talking about. It's gonna walk my dog. It's gonna fucking
my guy's exaggerating. I gotta
Do
look
all
this
my-
shit up.
do all my laundry.
Is this
So,
even
but-
real? Like, is this something you can order now?
No, this is. But I'm putting in.
You're envisioning it. Okay, okay.
Oh yeah, I'm envisioning. This is what what's his name? Who created Tesla? Elon Musk's house looks like.
Mhm.
Elon Musk's house right now has like 20 Tesla robots just going around doing everything.
Yeah. I need
Connor-
like some young bucks to like make posts for me so I can just focus on the YouTube.
That's why I'm gonna get my Tesla robot. I'm gonna put that motherfucker to work. Hey, when you see the robot slaves like rise, it started with me. Because
Alright.
my robot's gonna be like, dude, you don't know what this motherfucker put.
I'm against the robots, for the record.
Oh no, I'm for it. I'm for it. I'm gonna
You're
put all
for
these
you're
motherfuckers-
progressive.
I'm gonna put all of them to work.
Like
bro.
when I see
All of them.
robots like in the
My
street.
robot's gonna be worked so hard, bro. Like it has to oil itself.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not even gonna oil it. I'm like, nah, motherfucker, you do that shit.
You might be the first one it fucking attacks on.
Oh yeah. And they create the movie.
It's gonna be you created slavery again, bro.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. Hold on. But Conor McGregor slams Alec Pieta's ex-girlfriend after she celebrated his loss to Magomed and Ankalaev. Fugly bitch, wash your box.
Yeah, that was dirty.
Woo.
Yeah, fuck that chick. Okay, here's what I wanted to say though. Okay,
All right.
Ilia Topuria. So let's give a little preface from last week. I've been on record, right? With you and me going back and forth. This is why it's good. You think Ilia is not gonna get a title fight? I told you, I was like, you know what? I think he does get it. I think that you vacate your belt. You're a big star like Ilia. I think you get that title fight. He comes out with a tweet. He says, "You will not believe my next fight."
Big
Well,
fight coming.
the
Good news.
obvious fight is Islam. So if you're, that makes me think, okay, shit, MTK might be right. He's not getting a title shot. First guess, I feel like Ilia, if I were to guess, is gonna fight fucking Dustin Poirier. What do
I
you
was
think?
gonna say Armin.
Armin, but he said no. He said he can't
Why?
because they're homies.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that last week you said the same thing.
You're like,
Other-
you're like, hey, you're like, dude, did you learn last week or this week?
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just telling you. Other people are saying Connor, but in my opinion, I'm like Connor isn't coming back though.
The biggest fight news would be Islam.
That would be the biggest, but he says you won't believe it.
I wouldn't believe Islam.
Oh, because yeah, okay. So so now we're both on just opposite ends. We
and I
flipped
would,
again.
yeah. And I wouldn't believe Connor.
I don't believe the Connor one. Okay,
No.
so you would think that he might be
People would
hinting at
fucking
Connor.
watch that though.
You're right. If because right off what I just said, I don't think Connor's coming back. So I technically wouldn't believe a Connor booking. Ilya's saying you won't believe the next matchup. Is it fucking
Right.
Connor?
Right. But
That's the perfect guy for Connor to come back to. A little guy from 45 bumping up to 55.
yeah, oh dude, that press conference would be crazy.
Insanity. He's Conor McGregor 2.0. He's got the same tattoos and everything.
Yeah. Like he could go toe to toe from.
Oh my goodness.
That would be magic. That would be magic. Just off that tip.
Just off that.
Yeah, and if Connor won, woo, woo.
Well, Connor also said, and I think people hyped this up. Speaking of Connor, he kind of said like he wants to go on Joe's podcast, but he didn't directly say. He said he has a guest for Joe. So I don't know. Like again, like we're reading between the lines, but it's like he's like, "Are you looking for a guest? I have a great one for you." But he didn't say, "Are you looking for a guest? I'm looking to come on."
Right.
So
All of a
like,
sudden
are you trying to promote something like one of your clients?
All of a sudden, he's Joe Rogan's producer setting up interviews.
Or like he's a manager trying to get one of his fighters on? Like I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But if he's trying to get on the pod to make a fight happen, that's why I just brought it up. Maybe he's trying to get on the pod to make a fight happen.
Maybe.
Because that's where you would go, right? You go on Joe Rogan, you lay it all out there. You tell him what's been going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And everybody's gonna post it. I would like that. Connor, I don't know if you were saying you want to go on Joe's pod, but go on Joe's pod. Tell us all what's been going on behind the scenes. Give us clarity. You know what I mean? And let's get you a fight, bro. I would not believe you fighting Ilya.
Yeah, we gotta get him back in the ring, bro. This is it.
I want to see it. A lot of people are done with McGregor.
Alexa,
I want to
how old
see
is
it.
Conor McGregor?
Conor McGregor is 36 years old.
About to be 37. I mean, this is it. This is it.
This
This
is
is
like
the
the
final
year.
run. This is a final run.
Yeah. And he's turning 37 in July. We have the same birthday.
Oh, dude.
Funny
Same
enough.
day?
Same day, July 14th.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, dude, I was like, I love Connor. And then I found out we had the same birthday. I was like, this is meant to be. But then Connor fucking disappointed the fuck out of me.
See, that's what you need. A little bobblehead Connor back there.
Maybe, huh? I need a
Yeah.
bobblehead like Buckley or something. Somebody who's making me proud right now. I can't be putting
That
Connor
too.
up
That
there.
too.
Yeah.
At least a Buckley like poster of him knocking out Stephen Thompson or something.
Hey, so off topic though. Off topic. Well, first off, they said that Buckley almost got the title fight. And you know, this is what I'm saying though, right? This is what I'm saying. I leave my guy alone. Like I could have DM'd him and be like, yo, like they say that you have the title fight. I could DM him about every little fucking thing. You know what I mean? But like I'm like courteous to people's energy. Like I know I take a lot from you when we do the pod, get you on for like an hour. So I'm grateful for that. I feel like
Yeah.
Nina is the type. She's always up in the DMs, always like leave these guys alone. They got tough fucking lives. Jalen Turner just said it. He was struggling. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Leave these guys alone a little bit. But my point is that they
Who do
said
you think gets the first post-fight interview with Jalen?
well maybe like
If
a
you were
Michael
to-
Bisping?
I'm gonna say Rampage.
Oh, okay, for Jackson. Yeah, I think the Bisping or Rampage probably a good one. Let me show you this. Or okay, sorry. Joaquin, they said he almost got the title fight. So just a side note, I thought that was cool that they brought that up on broadcast. I wonder if they offered it to him and he said no. I will find out eventually for you guys, probably sooner than later. I'm gonna contact him. I've just been busy too, so when the time's right, I'll probably give him a call. But I'm kind of like conflicted because I like it to be super
Let's
raw.
give him a call on the pod.
Well, I want to give him a
Not
call
today.
today.
Not today.
No,
not
I
today,
want
but
I
like-
want to call him today, but
yeah.
I probably won't because
When
I'm
you
being a
feel the time
bitch.
is right.
But let me finish this thought real quick. I was gonna say,
That'd be a good clip though if you called him on the pod.
oh, I have a reason to call him. I'm gonna tell you. Give me a second here. But
Okay.
I was just gonna say something about. Oh, this is what I was gonna say. I want to call him, right? This is why I don't always call him because when we do the interview, I'm gonna ask him anyway, and so I like it to be super authentic in the interview where it's like the first time asking him.
No,
Like if
feel
I
you.
ask him like if he almost got the title fight and how DC just mentioned it on broadcast last weekend, and I know the answer now, it's different when I get him on to interview him.
Sure.
So that's why I'm like I'll think about texting him and I'm like, nah, maybe it's gonna ruin the interview.
Yeah, and that makes sense. That makes
But
sense.
this
you want it raw.
Right. But this one I feel like I could call him. This motherfucker, get this.
Last week, they took this out of the podcast. Shout out to Joaquin Buckley. Asking for payment to be on the pod. You leave that shit in. I don't give a
Okay, we're keeping it in this
Yeah,
week, Michael.
You big-eared goof. Motherfucker, I only do podcasts if I get paid. All right. Get likable once, and now listen, I have never wished for somebody to get knocked out. Now I'm wishing for it. No, I do. They did. Last week, they took this out of the podcast. Shout out to Joaquin Buckley.
I have an idea. We could do a celebrity
that?
boxing match. We could, since this guy's got an MMA platform,
Who's
right?
that?
It says the Casuals MMA altercation. Since Casuals MMA has an MMA platform, right? And you want to talk about a fighter like that, which is crazy work. Crazy work. I
It's on YouTube?
Yeah, I say my shit, right? I say my shit. You know I say my shit. Right? You know I say my shit. But that's crazy work. So if you really want to if you want to put that energy out, media outlet versus media outlet, we could run it. I'll run it for Joaquin.
Oh.
Yeah, we could run that.
Oh. Okay.
Why not?
Okay.
I've been trying to get something going. I think,
right.
you know, who else I could run it with is Guru. Hey, because, hey, you saw me in person. You saw me in person, right? You saw me in person.
Yeah, you're a big dude.
Okay. So I could run it with Guru.
I'm sure you could. I'm sure. I'm not gonna say no.
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm not gonna say no.
So
I know you go to the gym. I know you have a wrestling background, right?
yeah.
That's what you should call Joaquin up. Call him right now and be like, hey, do you think I could be MMA Guru? See what he says.
I want to call him about this guy right here.
All right, call him.
I DM'd him. I don't want to. I'm gonna leave it alone.
The worst case scenario, he's just not gonna answer.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
Fuck it. Just do it. Just do it.
I feel bad because he said he wants money for the interview. So it's like, I don't want to. I'm not trying to clout chase when he's like trying to get money for the interview. You feel me?
No, but what we ask him is if you think that you could fight Guru.
I'm gonna leave it alone. That's gonna piss him off.
All right.
Because it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Next time.
Next time. We'll talk about it next time.
All right.
But anything else we gotta touch on today?
I don't know. We can't. That was it right there.
That's it. Okay, so we'll end it there. End it with the bang.
Yeah, we were here. We went here.
We went here. All right.
End on a strong note.
Podcast over. Thank you, boys. Shout out to all of you. See you next week.
See ya.